Beep, 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 beep. Good morning and welcome to the court of the EDI Jester. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may happen to be. How are we, good people? Become a warrior teacher. Come and join us. We're enrolling now for the January start on the second Thursday of every January. Take a look at my pinned tweet on Twitter if you're interested, or, drop us a line somehow. You'll find me. Okay? Join, subscribe, become a jester, right? The usual, right? If you can help out, please do. Christmas is coming. The goose is getting fat. There's a great article that I've come across on the old Twittoids that I think really does feed into this most brilliantly. And it comes from the indefatigable and great writer and student researcher, Eliza MRE. Now, some of you may or may not be familiar with Eliza. Go and have a look and see what Eliza's work. Well worth following up on. Great stuff indeed. So we've got this secret life of gender clinicians, a reveal of the kind of rhetoric, the kind of conversations taking place amongst gender clinicians themselves when they get together. So Eliza appears to have gone to a conference. So it's interesting. Let's get started because there's lots of meat on this one. And I should put the links as usual in the doobries. So this was no ordinary medical conference. Over the course of 3 days, I learned a great many things. This is unreal, right? It's just unbelievable. That eunuchs are one of the world's oldest gender identities, and that doctors should not judge their strange desires for castration, but fulfill them. Doc, I've got a eunuch gender identity. Knock off me knackers. It's insane. Right? It's insane. Now, we know, and you know, and everybody else knows who's got any bloody sense, that the trans nutters and their gender identity lunatic friends and cousins are quite happy to retcon any portion of history that will mean that they look like something they're not, as if they've been around, right? Okay, forever. They retcon all sorts of stuff. So they'll say that the word queer has been reclaimed, which it hasn't. Right, okay. It was briefly in the 90s, but that stopped 25 years ago, so they can sod off on that. They'll claim that the word same-sex attraction is a right-wing trope, which is just nonsense. They claim that homosexuality doesn't exist, which is nonsense. They claim that anybody who thinks that there are two sexes is a genital fetishist. You know that they will claim any kind of nonsense that they possibly can, but this one takes the biscuits, doesn't it? Right, so you're a eunuch, you think that your knackers need knock-in, then in that case I'll just sign the form and I'll get the scissors. Why don't they just do it like they do with sheep and tie a really, a tight elastic band around them until they drop off? Sick people. Right? Will that apply to children, I wonder? Will it apply to children? So I'm so sorry that you're a 13-year-old who has a pair of testicles, but we know that in reality what you've got is a millennia-old genital identity as a eunuch. So, get the elastic band, nurse. These sick, twisted. It's the only way I can describe them, I'm afraid. Eliza also learned that ideally patients wouldn't be actively psychotic. Ideally, they wouldn't be actively psychotic. This is just beyond the pale to see it written down so starkly by Eliza. Just beyond the pale. I'm sure you will find it the same. That ideally patients wouldn't be actively psychotic when they initiated testosterone, but that psychotic patients consent to take medication like stool softeners and statins all the time. And people don't pay that much attention. What they're saying there is that committing to the mutilation of the body, the sterilization, the committing to a path down the unreality of a gender identity, of a trans identity, which is an absolute falsehood from beginning to end, is the same as taking a laxative because you need a shite. I'm sorry, I'm not having it, right? It's absolute nonsense, right? To say no to somebody who's like, listen, give me an X-Lax or whatever it is because I need a poop, right? Yeah, but you're psychotic. Yeah, but I can say yes to an X-Lax. Of course you can, because it's just an X-Lax, and the worst thing we're going to get is you shit yourself, right? So they give what they're saying is that if you don't give them the hormones, the testosterone, all the crap that they need to follow their delusion, that would be ableist to question an autistic girl's insistence on, for example, a double mastectomy. I'm on the first paragraph, people, of this brilliant article, right? The first paragraph. that patients who claim to have multiple personalities, claim being the word, if you remember Sybil, claim being the word, that disagree about which irreversible steps to take towards transition can find consensus or at least obtain a quorum using a smartphone app. Technological titty taking. It is hard to shock me these days, says Eliza. Yep, I know how you feel, Eliza. But as I move around the World Professional Association for Transgender Health Symposium in Montreal in September 2022, I often felt as if I'd slipped sideways into some strange universe that operated in accordance with other laws, where up is down and girls are boys, and medicine has left its modest brief, healing, far behind in its breathless pursuit of transcendence. Transcending reality. I wasn't really supposed to be there. I hadn't misrepresented myself. I am what I claim to be, a graduate student researching gender identity. But this was a convocation for believers, and I'm a skeptic. When WPATH, the world's most prestigious and influential gathering in transgender healthcare, came to Montreal, I couldn't resist the opportunity to see up close the people and ideas I'd pursued through so many articles and books. I wanted to know what gender clinicians were saying behind closed doors. I wanted to see how they understood the work they do, the patients they serve, and the criticism they face. That's why I began attending WPATH conferences, starting with the symposium in Montreal, followed by the European Professional Association for Transgender Health conference in Killarney, Ireland in April, and the US Professional Association for Transgender Health conference in Denver, Colorado, just a few weeks later. After years of flying under the radar, the fear of transgender healthcare, I don't think there's such a thing. There is only human healthcare, okay? And whether that healthcare is a requirement because humans have damaged other humans or because you've been hit by a bus, it makes no difference. There is only human healthcare. There is no transgender healthcare. After years of flying under the radar, the field of transgender healthcare is facing serious questions about whether minors can consent to life-altering interventions. How did we get here? How did we get here? What role factors like autism, sexual orientation and social influence may play in the explosion of children and young people identifying as trans, and what to make of the mounting evidence of medical harm, regret and detransition. In response, the field of trans healthcare is becoming even more secretive. There is a sharp demarcation between what gender clinicians say in public and what they subsequently say in private. You can read more about what they're likely to say in public and what they're likely to say in private by going and clicking on the link in the Dubris to go and read Eliza's tremendous article. Please do. As I always say, I'll say it again, Eliza's taken the time to write it. You can take the time to bloody read it, right? There is no such thing as trans healthcare. It's just healthcare. There is no such thing as gender identity. It's just personality. It is time to eradicate the language from the discourse. Eradicate the language from the discourse. It is time to stop giving nutters airtime. It is time to stop giving nutters time on blogs. It is time to stop giving nutters any attention at all. There is no trans healthcare. There are no trans people. And there is no need for any of it. It is just healthcare, children in distress, and adults doing whatever the hell they want to do and expecting everybody else to play along. Don't play along on any level whatsoever. Whatsoever. We just have people in distress. But that's only my take. You give me yours in the Dubris as usual, and I'll catch up with you later, yeah? Have a great day. Tar-tar!